Will Glaze, head football coach at Cleveland High School, and this is Average Joe Sports Talk.
All right, guys, we are here with new head football coach at Cleveland High School, Will Glaze. Some of you guys may be familiar with him. He spent some time at Gadsden City a few years ago and several schools in the Birmingham area. Coach Glaze, you were at Phoenix City before you took the job here at Cleveland. You guys won a lot of games while you were there. Talk to us about your time at Phoenix City.
So yeah, it was the first year was crazy, being COVID year. The first time I was down there was that Monday, June the 1st. That's the first time I'd met anybody in person. We'd done some Google Meets, but that's the first time I shook anybody's hand. Kids, players, coaches, anybody. So that first summer was very strange. We were up there from like 8 to 5 because we had to split up offense for a little bit, defense for a little bit, keep the kids apart, had them in 3 different areas, had to spray everything down in between lifts in the weight room and outside. So that first year was difficult because it was just so strange not really knowing anybody and being separate so much. And then we lost 5 games. So we made the semifinals. We had a good year, but we lost 5 games, which was the most Central had lost in, I think, over like 10, 15 years.
Wow.
So a lot of people were kind of upset at us for losing games. But 4 of our 5 games we lost, I think 4 of them were by combined 10 points. It's just last minute we lost in overtime to Oxford. We lost by 2 to Eufaula. We lost 45-35 to Hoover first game of the year. We didn't know we were going to play them until Tuesday of that week because our Georgia game had gotten canceled because they pushed their season back 2 weeks farther than ours. So literally on Tuesday night, like 8 o'clock, Coach Nick said, "Hey, we're going to play Hoover on Friday." So you know that was interesting getting ready for Hoover in 2 days. But we still had a good year. We lost to Auburn in the regular season, 29-28, and then we played them again in the semifinals, and they took it to us. They missed 35-17. So the first year had a lot of challenges for sure, and then year 2 was just different. It was a seamless transition in the off season. Everybody just seemed different when we got there in January.
Right.
And so we had a fantastic season, went 13-0, got to the state championship game. Got beat by Thompson 38-22. But that second year was, I don't know what it was. I can't really put my finger on exactly what it was. It was just different from a coach's standpoint, from a player standpoint. I think it was a bigger deal. The community was back, and there wasn't restrictions on who could be there because that Auburn semifinal game at home was absolutely packed.
Yeah.
When Caleb took off on like a 70-yard run, it was pretty loud in there. So that was a cool environment to be in and get to play in the state championship. It was my first time getting to do that. It was my 3rd time in the semifinals, but to play in the state championship game, and for me personally, to get to play in Birmingham, being a UAB guy, was really, really special for me. So yeah, these last 2 years taught me a lot. From a responsibility standpoint, everything Coach Nix would let me do, from getting hotel rooms ready, hotel list ready on Super 7 week, and all the little things that the people may not want to do that I actually enjoy to do, organizational stuff that I think gets you ready to be a head coach. I think maybe I could have done it 2 years ago, but now I know I can because of those 2 years of Central with Coach Nix. From a game planning standpoint, but from a head coaching standpoint, what I learned in those 2 years, I think, was instrumental in getting me ready for something like this. It doesn't mean I won't make mistakes. I know I will. But I truly think I'm prepared now after those last 2 years.
Yeah, you kind of answered my next question. I was going to ask you if your time at Phoenix City prepared you to take, to have your first head coaching job.
For sure, it did. And it's little things from everybody I've been with. And I say this to a lot of people too. When you're somewhere, when you've been enough places, and whether you say it's fortunate or unfortunate that I've been a bunch of places as an assistant coach, you learn good and bad things. So it's not even bad things about people in general. It's just, I didn't like we did this. I don't like how we do this on game days. I do like how this is set up. I don't like doing Thursday practice this way. I do like doing this.
Right.
You can kind of take from a lot of different things. So, I mean, even go back to my very first job at Bibb County and Tallahassee, we're both with my high school coach, Coach Battles. And I've taken a ton from our time together, and I haven't worked with him in 8, 9 years now. So, everywhere you've been, I think prepares you incrementally. But I for sure think these last 2 years kind of put that in warp speed and got me prepared for this.
Good deal, good deal. So for people that don't really know much about you, tell us about you from high school, where you went to high school, where you're from, college, and all that. Kind of take us up from that time to now.
Okay, so I graduated from Oak Grove High School in 2005, so 2004 football season was my senior year. That's about an hour, 15 minutes from here, far west Jefferson County. You're right there in the core. You can be in Tuscaloosa County in 10 minutes, Walker County in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's a 4A. When I was there, it was in between 3A and 4A. We were both in my 4 years there too for reclassifications. The last time, this fly's driving me crazy. The last time that we actually won a playoff game at Oak Grove was my senior year. So they've fallen on some tough times here lately. They've made the playoffs since then, but they haven't had a winning season since 2010. They haven't made the playoffs since 2000, or have won a playoff game since 2004. But it's a great place. My parents still live down there. A lot of my family still lives down there. It's a great place to be. But like I said, it's fallen athletically from a football standpoint. It's been tough here lately. When I graduated from there, I went to UAB. And so my first 2 years in school, I was just going to school. I knew I was going to be a teacher and a coach. But going into the 2007 year, I guess that would have been December of 06, January of 07, because when Coach Callaway got the job at UAB. And I just saw a moment where, maybe I could try to go ahead and start coaching now. So I literally turned in I don't really know how you call it a resume when you don't have any working experience. Right. I think it's really just a piece of paper that says, here's my name and I'll work for free.
Right.
So I was fortunate enough to get on there and help with the offensive line. So Coach Will Friend was the O-line coach there. He's now the O-line coach at Auburn. Yeah. Played at Alabama. He's coached at Georgia, Tennessee, Auburn. So working with him, he's a fantastic X's and O's coach. I learned everything I know about football from a really ground standpoint is from him, especially with O-line play. When you're talking inside and outside zone stuff. And so my 2 years there, my junior and senior year at UAB were the 07 and 08 seasons. We weren't very good. We went 2-10 and 4-8, but we had, incremental improvement, but we weren't great. That was, before UAB got what it is now, which is amazing to go there and see the covered pavilion and all the facilities they have. I could not be more proud to see what they have now. We were still in the dentist office. Right. We still were at the practice field where it rains for half an inch and it's completely submerged. You're going to a gym. The locker room was in Bartow, so guys legit had to get dressed and walk across a street in downtown Birmingham to get to the practice field. So things have changed a lot in 15 years at UAB, and all for the good. So when I graduated from there in 2009, my high school coach, Coach Bowser, left Oak Grove and went to Bibb County. And he called me and said he wanted me to come down there to coach. That's the only time I ever coached defense. I coached D-line there for 3 years. And when he left Bibb to Tallahassee, he wanted me to go. And I wanted to as well. I said, I want to coach O-line. And so that's when I moved back to offense when I went to Tallahassee. But we had a great run at Bibb County. 3 best years in school history back to back. Quarterfinals, semifinals, quarterfinals. Tallahassee, I was there 2 years, which is in between Montgomery and Auburn. I left there, I met my wife down there, we got married and we moved to Gardendale. So I was at Gardendale for 5 years, so that was with Coach Plunkett for 4, and then Coach Chad Eads, who's still there now. His first year there, I was there with him. With Coach Plunkett, I worked my way all the way up to being assistant head coach. He helped me very much so along this path too. I'm 29, 30, and I'm the last one to talk to the team before we go out. He was like, look, this is what you want. I want to prepare you the best way I know how, which is to give you as much responsibility as you can take. So Coach Plunkett was really big in getting me here too. So after I left Gardendale, I went to Gadsden. I was Gadsden for a year in 2019, and then I went to Central for those 2. So we've moved around a little bit. My wife and I, we've been married for 8 years now. And this last move, I think, counting the temporary one in between for a summer, I think was move 5 for us.
Oh, wow.
So I'd like to not do that to her for a little bit. And my kids now are 4 and 1. I'd like for them not to be moving around so much too. So it's a great place up here. I've only been here 3 months, but it's fantastic, and I hope to be here for a long time.
All right. Well, Cleveland, as you know, last year had a nice run. They played for the state championship last year. taking this job, did you feel like there was going to be some pressure on you to kind of keep that going from last year?
I see what you mean. I don't really view it that way. I see it as an opportunity to take over a program that most first-year head coaches don't get to. Some head coaches, they have to take a job that, hey, they're used to these kids are going 3-7 for 10 straight years, and you were fighting and clawing to get to 5-5, 6-4, make a playoff spot.
Right.
And here, these kids are used to winning not only last year, but the last couple of years with Coach Gillen. His 9 years here were all successful, but they've really had some really good years in the last 3 or 4. So these kids are used to winning. I don't really see it as pressure. I see it as a great opportunity.
Okay.
Where other people, hey, I'm taking this job. Yeah, they're used to going 2-8. But look, I think we've got some really good players.
Okay.
And yeah, some graduated from last year, like 2A back of the year. Logan Washburn, Pierce Gilman, Carter Adams, who had like 9 million tackles. Had some really good players on that team.
Yeah.
But there's some really good players in this upcoming senior class. At the 2A right now, I've got 16 seniors. We've had some that I've got talked to coming out and some that played last year, but I've talked to some coaches I know they're at 4As and 5As, and they got senior classes of 12 and 13. Here I am with 16 seniors in the 2A. So I think we've got a tremendous opportunity in front of us, is the main way I look at it. I don't really view it as pressure, because pressure would probably be if they had done it 9 of the last 10 years.
Yeah.
That was the only time in school history they made the semifinals or the state championship game. And they are used to winning, but I don't really see that as pressure. I see that as a tremendous opportunity to keep it going. And the main thing I see with how Coach Gillen ran this program, I'm really fortunate to walk into a place that's got good coaches here already, good young coaches, good players, and a good foundation. I'm not having to rebuild a house.
Right.
All I'm doing is finishing the downstairs, maybe putting a nice bear claw tub in. I'm not having to. I'm just renovating little bitty things here and there. I'm not having to rebuild anything, and that makes it so much easier for head coaches. But for a first-year head coach to come in, and all you're worried about is wanting to redo the locker room for the guys, and redo the team room, and redo some stuff outside, you're not having to sit there and think about rebuilding a program.
Right.
That's just a huge advantage for me.
I know that's got to be an awesome feeling coming in, especially being your first head job, and it's like, hey, I just got to take care of some small things here and there.
For sure.
So since you've been here, have you had a chance to get out in the community and talk to people out in the Cleveland community?
For sure. The thing that's been great about here is being in a small school, you sit there and think you're going to have less coaches, you're going to have less players, you're going to have less resources. I've had people come up asking, look, tell me what you want me to do. So I had a guy named Robert Steele came to me, I guess, maybe a month and a half ago. He said, hey, look, I paint. Is there something you want done? I was like, well, yeah, there's a list of things. I said, it's like 12 or 13 things here or there. Yeah. He said, well, let me just come up there and walk around with you. So I showed it to him. He's like, all right, well, I'll be up here tomorrow. And I said, up here tomorrow doing what? And I said, well, start with this. And for about the next 7 calendar days, counting weekends, he was, the stadium, the outside, the back of the field house. It's all done. Like, it's just something that he said, when I do it, you tell me to do it, I'm going to do it.
Right.
So, he's going to help me. We're going to take all this out, we're repainting this. The locker room, we're going to repaint the lockers, get them out on the track, and put the tarp down. The help around here has been not overwhelming, I guess, in a good sense. That people are like, look, just tell me what you want me to do. Tell me how to help. Right. And if it's something I can do, I'll do it like as soon as possible, not 3-4 weeks from now. So people in the community have really, really stepped up. We had this last weekend, Sunday, we had the youth league come up here. It was like their fittings and everything you ready for the season, but it was also, hey, y'all stay and help work. And they're just getting trash bags, and they're getting underneath kids, moms, dads. They're getting underneath the stadium, and they're just getting up bottle. Like, if you walk underneath the stadium on either side right now, you can't find a piece of trash. They were out here from 3 to 6 on Sunday in June because they just want to help.
Wow.
And so it's been tremendous.
Yeah, because when we pulled up, I was looking around. I was like, this place is really nice. The stadium, everything's nice and neat and clean. I was like, this is really nice. Coming in, what are some of your short-term goals for the program and some of the things you'd like to see happen?
So short-term goals, the main thing I wanted to do in the spring is get these kids noticed by colleges. So I never want to be unrealistic. I always tell these kids that, if they're a Division II player, I'm never going to tell you that you're going to go play at Alabama. But if you have an opportunity to play somewhere, somebody will give you some financial help, I want to help see that happen. If that's what you want to do, if you want to go play football, or if you want to go do something else, I'm fine with it. I just want to be able to help you any way I can. So we had a lot of colleges come up here in the spring evaluation period. I've got some kids over the next 2 years that can go play college football somewhere. And so my main goal is to find where that is.
Right.
So we're not being unrealistic. I've told college coaches, all I want to do is be honest with them. Evaluate these kids, tell me, hey, I think he's more geared for this. That's fine. Now I can really laser focus on that for that kid, and for this kid, and for that kid.
Right.
My short-term goal is to get this program continuing to be noticed. It's on everybody's radar now. Hey, they played the state championship game last year. It's not like you don't know who Cleveland is for the last couple of years. The main thing I want to do is keep it going.
Right.
So, state championship run, Fife dropping back down. Fife's really good. Aliceville's really good. Tanner's really good. In our region, Southeastern made the quarterfinals last year. So I know there's a lot of competition in just 2A North, but I want to keep this thing going. So the short-term goal is from the success on the field will help these kids. And so it's not about me. If I can help these kids any way off the field or on the field from success, then I want that done. The short-term goal, too, I want all of these kids to graduate as high GPAs as we can. So if it is a scenario where it's a Division II or Division III and they can only help from an academic standpoint, they can help Pell Grant this, that, and the other based on something, they can put themselves in the best position. So they're not trying to scramble as a senior and say, I got to make this up and I got to make this up. So short-term goals is to help these kids out as much as I can. If that's something they want to pursue, I want to help.
Good deal. And kind of bouncing off that, what are some of the long-term things you'd like to see happen here in Cleveland?
So long-term, this is probably because it's the first time I've been a head coach. This is the first place I've ever been where I've thought about 10 years from now. It's always been, hey, I want to do phenomenal, help these kids, these coaches. I want to work my butt off for this goal. Well, now I've gotten the goal.
Right.
And so I've never been hung up on classifications. I'm in a great place to win. And all I want to do is coach football, win, help these kids, and have fun. You can do that in any classification if you've got kids to play.
Exactly.
We've got kids here.
Exactly.
So long term, I'd be completely fine with seeing my kids graduate from here. And my kids are 4 and 1. So from a long-term standpoint, I always want, somebody said this to me that really resonated with me, this is probably 10 years ago. They said, never worry about a football season, worry about a football program. Never worry about the year-to-year stuff. Always build it into what you want 10 years from now.
Okay.
And so what I really want these kids to understand is they're building a legacy for themselves for a class 8 years from now. But in a small town, they may be building a legacy for their kids. They really may. On the other side of this wall, in July, we're going to paint. There's 70 All-State players going back to 1940 that have played here in Cleveland. I'm going to put every single name up there. And some of them, 2 of them, are coaches for me right now. My offensive and defensive coordinator are All-State players here.
Yeah.
And I want those kids, I don't want to be on this side, I don't want to be in that locker room. I want those kids to see it and say, what if I could be up on that wall? And then my kid 20 years from now sees that.
Right.
And they want to be on that wall with me. And build a legacy here in Cleveland. So this is really the first place I've ever been where I've thought about something 10 or 12 years from now. But anything that I do, I always want it to be a long-term goal because I want these kids to understand this will be here long after they're gone, long after I'm gone. Cleveland will be here. It was here long before us, too. I want them to understand that wearing that Panthers across their chest means a lot more than they think. They're building something for somebody they hadn't even met.
Right, right. One of the things I know I've seen going to a lot of different schools, in the smaller schools in small towns like Cleveland, a lot of people, they raise their kids here, raise their families here, and you're going to have players whose fathers, grandfathers, great-grandfathers played on that. And I guess that kind of helps, too, in building that legacy.
Sure, absolutely.
So, what do you think about that? Like, what are your feelings on that?
Well, to mirror exactly what you're saying, I've got pictures, I haven't hung them up in my office yet, of my senior year at Oak Grove. my brother's senior year at Oak Grove. My dad's senior year at Oak Grove, his sophomore was his brother.
Yeah.
And then my grandfather's senior year at Oak Grove.
Yeah.
In 1948, it's a black and white picture.
Wow.
So Oak Grove means a lot to me because we all played there, just like you said.
Yeah.
I want them to understand that should mean something to them too. If their dad played here, if their granddad played here, if their kid ends up playing here, this will mean more to them than just a game. It will teach them a lot more than they think. It'll teach their kids a lot more. And the pride that you usually have in smaller schools is because of that. Because you've got family last names that have been here as long as Cleveland's been around. As long as this high school's been around. Hey, you know this last name. Oh, well, his brother played here in 75. His dad played here. It means a lot more, and it makes it more meaningful and special for these kids that play too. When you can kind of build on that legacy and say, guys, this place has been around forever, but like last year's senior class did something that no other team had ever done.
Exactly.
Like that's going to mean something to them. The door wrap that we're all putting on the front of these, the door wrap that's going to come in this team room is a picture of the state championship game from the Grove Hill side, from the Clark County side. And you look over there at a 2A, and you see all those people from Cleveland. There's probably 8,000 people. It's probably the entire town of Cleveland.
Yeah.
Probably some people from Locust Ford, probably people from Rimlap, Susanmore.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's probably half of Blount County.
Yeah.
And that's going to be right there, and it says 2021 2A runner-up. It's something that had never been done here before. That's a legacy.
Right.
And that's what I want these kids to understand, that they can continue to build on that each and every year.
Good deal. To wrap this up, I'm going to let you close out the video. What do you want to say to the Cleveland community, coming in as being the head coach? What do you want to say to them?
Well, we're excited to be here. We moved. We finally got moved up here on June the 3rd. My family has been in Phoenix City the last 3 months. I've been driving up on Monday mornings at 4 in the morning, staying here during the week, driving back home on the weekends. We're excited to be here. So we're 6-7 minutes away. We are here. My wife's going to be teaching at the elementary school. My daughter's in pre-K there. So 3 of my 4, count me, we're on campus together. Which is the amazing thing as a dad. I love being a coach, but from a dad standpoint, it's a big draw to me that I can literally leave the gym, go down to the lunchroom, and see my kid.
Yeah.
Walk over one building and see my wife.
Yeah.
That's a big deal when you think about stuff like that. But to the Cleveland community, look, we're here. We want to win. I want to keep this going, what Coach Gilliland has done, what's been done here a long time before, but especially what Coach Gilliland got going here in the last 9 or 10 years. His players are working really hard. His coaches are tremendous, great role models for your kids, great coaches with great men. And we're going to give you all we got, and we're going to try to keep this thing rolling.
All right, Coach. I appreciate you sitting in with us. We will definitely be back out to visit with you guys sometime this summer. And like I said, it's good to have you back in this part of the state.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thank you.